Welcome everyone to Words of Rizdom episode 10. Special edition for number 10. We have Cal and Krishna. Now, by this point, you know Cal and Krishna. You've seen the introductions, the journeys, everything. So today we're just going to have a blast and just have a conversation. We haven't actually talked. we didn't even plan anything. We didn't even say anything.
Don't need to, bro. Honestly, don't need to.
It's true. It's true. So, well, Krishna, you're originally from London anyway.
Yeah.
But Cal, London vibes.
London vibes. I absolutely love this city. Every time I come, I'm completely besotted by it. I just love everything about it. There's so much energy. And as you've spoke about in one of your previous podcasts, Nottingham isn't let's say it's not the Mecca of the earth. It's not the bright spot.
Did you hear that though, Krishna? Every time he comes.
Delete. But yeah, I think of London. It's an amazing city, and I really enjoy it. You know, every time I don't want to say it again. Every time I spend some time here, I really enjoy my time, and especially today, joined by two. Well, I don't know how to describe you both, but two great guys. Let's say.
That's probably the
dodgiest,
the nicer thing.
Yeah, I was.
The dodgiest way.
I definitely know that he had something else planned. Yeah, what came to mind was definitely something different.
PG.
That's it, definitely. Well, when you talk about coming,
okay,
PG's out the window already. But no, I get what you mean 100%. Like being from Nottingham, it's very funny. Like we're in London, right? If you speak to people from London, like Nottingham, they're like, "Oh, you live in the countryside," and I'm like, "What?" Yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah, but I understand. Yeah, you probably understand now. Like, when you come to London and a city like London, or even like Dubai or anything like that, Nottingham in comparison is essentially the countryside. Like, it isn't anything like on the same caliber of what London represents or these major cities.
It's behind the times. I would say that even just putting it down to a fundamental factor of opportunity. Everyone is still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We speak about this all the time.
Yeah.
When you come back, you know, we film content, we catch up with a very select few people. Yeah. And it's just the same circles. You know, some guys will walk into, you know, let's say we go for a shisha and we plan out some content. Maybe we film some and, you know, someone will walk in and it'll be, you know, Riz, how are you? You know, not seen you for a while. And what are you up to? Oh, you know, I'm still doing the same thing, or, you know, I'm working here. There's not really a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to get excited about. And when I come here, I just feel the energy. You know, there's a lot more going on. Everyone's 100. Some people don't like it. Yeah, I can imagine that. I can.
Growing up, though.
And the thing is you always want what you don't have.
Yeah.
And it's like when we went to Dubai, and, you know, shout out people like Youssef, and he's like, oh, you know, when it rains, it's amazing. When it snows, it's amazing. You know, in this country, we're like, oh, it's raining again. You always want what you sort of don't have.
You know what's weird though? Like growing up, I didn't like London. I used to think like, oh, London's shit. Like, you know, so busy and all that. But then moving here as not really an adult, but like young adult. Same thing, like
very inspiring.
Very inspiring. Understanding that no one's in your business. You know, like in Nottingham, it's so small that everyone knows each other.
Everybody knows everybody. Yeah.
And then like everyone knows your business. Everyone's like gossiping. Everyone's doing all this sort of stuff. But when in London, everyone's so busy hustling. No one gives a
grind.
Shit, right? No one gives a shit. Like everyone's hustling. Everyone's on the grind. Everyone's got, you know, working. Even if they're not like an entrepreneur, even though there's like good entrepreneurs here, they're on it.
100 miles an hour.
That's it. But one thing I was going to pivot to is like, you grew up here.
Yeah. So
it'll be very interesting for me and Cal. Like, what was it like growing up in a city like this?
The thing is, again, it's probably one of those things where, you know, because I've grown up here, I probably do take it for granted. Because I understand when you come here, like all the things you're saying about London, it's true. You know, everyone is working hard. There is always a buzz about the city. So I probably do take it for granted. But growing up here, so I'm from West London. I'm from Southall. Shout out to Southall. You know,
is there any sort of like hand sign?
No, not at all. No. Definitely not. But the thing, you know, to be fair, the funny thing is, you know, as much as I grew up there, I'm actually not, you know, I don't really feel like I've ever been a part of that community or that, you know, I don't really feel like I belong to that area purely because even when I went to high school, I went to Burnham Grammar, which is like that is the actual countryside. You know, that's not even Greater London. That's like outside. like even further than Slough. So all the people that I knew, like the people that I grew up with, the school that I went to, the environment that I was in, it was never very Londonish.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't probably give you an accurate representation of what it's like to be in London properly, because then even now in uni, I don't go to a London uni. I don't even go to a proper like uni in
What's
like
the
an actual
difference
city.
like there?
The difference is ridiculous. So I go to University of Warwick, and I live in Leamington currently, and it's completely different. Like it's similar to what you're saying in Nottingham, but even on a smaller scale. Like
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You
It's
spent
very
your
tough.
life running away from London.
yeah,
and
pretty
we're like,
much. You want to go to
let's go
London?
to
Gonna
London.
get there.
This is
Exactly.
amazing. Let's go to London.
Although, with that being said, if I go even further back
Hmm.
to my mum, for example, she actually came to London. So she was born here. She was born here, grew up here, in London, and then she got married and moved to India. But then,
Oh wow.
for the sake of, again, this is now coming back to the greatness of London or the positives of London. For the sake of the education of myself and my older brother, who has special needs, she came to London. So that just goes to show that regardless, I could say whatever I want. Like, you know, you still have to pay your respects to the opportunities that are present here.
100%.
yeah.
Because she actually came here. So I guess that's more telling of the reality of London and what it represents than maybe my opinion
Yeah.
as someone who's potentially taken it for granted.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think like to a certain extent we all take it for granted in terms of like I remember growing up a bit like not even growing up like a couple of years ago I'd be like, oh, England's so shit to live in and stuff like this. But then as I traveled and experienced different parts of the world, and more importantly, people called me out on it. You know, in terms of like you got free healthcare. Now, for us living here, free healthcare is kind of like that's the norm. That's what we're used to.
Yeah.
But like when you think about and hear about whether it's America charging wise, like, you know, they charge you to hold your baby after it's been born, for example.
Even
That's
calling an
madness.
ambulance apparently is like thousands.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Or an inhaler, right? If you're asthmatic, inhaler. Costing hundreds of dollars, for example. That's America. That's a first world country. But think about other countries where the healthcare, even if it's free, isn't very good. So like that's one example where you kind of just take it for granted, you know? And yeah, like I think it's just kind of a perception thing, you know,
It's just
what
the
you're born
UK.
into.
It's
Yeah.
the UK. It's the UK. Like, we
Tell me one thing before you start. QMC or City?
QMC. QMC.
Vibes.
QMC.
Vibes.
Only the Nottingham watchers will.
Josh,
Yeah.
where were you born?
QMC
I think
in
he's,
the
I think he's,
house.
I think he's lying. I think he's lying.
The Nottingham hospitals. It's like some football rivalry. You know, like the Nottingham version of like Green Street. You don't know what that is, but
We just start scrapping
all the
in the
babies
street.
roll out of like the production line, and they're all just like, you know, squaring up to each other with a Stone Island on and all the rest of it. No, but yeah, I think we just take a lot of things for granted. You know, and we do have a lot of amazing opportunity in this country. It's you know, it's very fortunate. Yeah, it's a very fortunate place. You know, lots of people come here for those reasons.
Yep.
You know, and me personally, like I welcome that. Okay, because it's like what we speak about all the time. Like opportunity requires action.
Yeah.
Those people, they don't necessarily want to leave their homes. They don't want to leave their motherlands, but they come here for the opportunity and they seize it
Yeah.
because they're not complacent. Yeah, you know, like what you're talking about, like just being London, just being the norm. You know, these people come here because it's not the norm. Yeah, because they see opportunity and because they thrive off that opportunity. There's people from the UK, they're still sat on their arse every day.
Yeah.
Because they don't know about the opportunity. They do know about the opportunity, but they take it for granted.
Yeah.
Exactly what we just spoke
It's
about.
that classic debate, you know, like with Brexit, when that happened, like, oh, they're taking our jobs. But, you know, a lot of the time it was a case of they're taking jobs that people here
Can't be
think they're
asked to
too
get up
good.
for.
Yeah, can't be asked or think they're too good for.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how can you think that? Like, I know in my journey, and I'm pretty sure for you two is similar. Like, I'll do any job. I'll clean a fucking toilet. I don't care. Like, I'll sweep a floor. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, before I got to where I am, I worked in a chicken shop where I swept the floor at night, cleaned up people's fucking sick, cleaned the toilet. Like, it's not a problem.
And
Like,
it's
that's
a
what is needed.
generational thing. It's
Yeah.
a generational thing in the way that I think we're on that borderline, like me and you, Riz. And, you know, Krish is a little bit younger. And there's almost there's like an image to uphold.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't be working. If you're somebody that's just come out of school, in today's world, you are, you know, you need to be driving a Merc. You need to have a nice
it's crazy,
A-class.
honestly.
You need to have, you need to be wearing the lubes. You need to be doing this, doing that. If you're not posting pictures of a Lambo on Instagram, you are nobody. Yeah. And there's a lot of social pressure. Okay. But what we have to realize is that, you know, we've got so much opportunity around us in a way that there's so many jobs that will lead you down a path to greatness. Yeah. In a way that you might have worked in the chicken shop, but it's taught you lessons. Yeah. It's taught you lessons that most of these younger generation, they're never going to learn. Yeah. Because they're never going to go and do it because their pride's too strong. Their ego's too strong. Yeah. They'd rather fake their way through life.
Him, bro. Like, you know, like, for example, my wife's like sort of cousins. I remember I said to them, like, he was 16 at the time, wanted to make some money. I said, look, I can get you a job at the chicken shop, right? Because I still know I'm friends with the owner. If anything, some of you will know from the previous podcast that the owner is actually the friend who got me into Forex. And so I said, I can get you a job there. No, I don't want to work in a chicken shop. But you're 16, mate. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, you're 16. Yeah. You know, work anywhere. It's money, right? It's money. Like, if you want to make money, work anywhere. There's a job there where you don't need an interview, nothing. You can just go have it, right? And you can make cash in hand, right? But no.
And just to interrupt, that is the one thing that we talk about all the time, the cash buffer. Yeah. You can work any job. Yeah. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's going to set the foundation for you to go and do what you really want to do. You can have the cash buffer. You can have the 3 months, the 6 months. You can grind it out for a little bit of time doing something that you don't really want to do. Yeah. But at least then you can go and walk away from the job that you don't really want to do. And you're going to have 3 or 6 months worth of that cash buffer to go and do then what you want to do.
I feel like it's a lack of understanding that people think that they'll go from 0 to 100 in like one step.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't understand.
In trading, we see it 20.
I mean, trading is probably the best example. But you know, even on a more relatable level, when it comes to just working these jobs, for example, it's like people think that they're gonna go from having a Corsa to having like a flipping Lambo instantly.
I tweeted about it this week.
You know what I mean?
I tweeted about it this week. Stop focusing on...
I love that tweet.
Don't...
Yes.
Stop focusing on 20k a month if you're not making 5k a month. Yeah. Or stop focusing on 5k a month if you're not earning 1 or 2k a month.
Exactly. And I think it's very valid for everyone here. Like
100%.
I had to go through that.
Yeah,
you know, and I had that same thing where like, I want to make this much, but like my mum explained it in a certain sort of analogy is like every zero unlocks a level, both positive and negative. So like every zero has its pleasures and opens the door to certain experiences, but then also taxes, also costs, responsibility. Yeah. And it's a massive thing. Like one thing, like sort of just turning back a little bit, when I left Astro, the one thing they said to me when I was leaving was like, oh, the grass isn't always greener. You know, you probably won't do that well. They didn't know me, like, you know, like us three here. I know that. And even if let's say you left the Vipers, for example, and went and did your own thing, I know you do amazing, right? Because I know you and I've learned to know your mindset. Same with Cal, like if he left the Vipers for any reason or did anything else, like even like, crypto, as an example, like when we started, he wasn't doing crypto, right? But he took the time, built the knowledge, doing crypto, calling calls for calls, right?
Yeah, for real.
If he went and decided that I'm just going to go do crypto cow and do my own thing, I know he will be successful, right? It wasn't the same level of respect there or like understanding there. So when I left, it was like, oh, the grass isn't always greener. What will you do? And I said to him straight, like in terms of the mindset, right, what you're willing to do. I said, look, if I go and fail, right, if I go and try and start something with Cal, and I don't do something well, I'll go work in a chicken shop. I don't care, right? I'll go back to a chicken shop. I said it to him. I said, look, I used to work in a chicken shop. I'll go work in a chicken shop again. I'll go get a job. I'm humble. I don't care about what people think, right? Because I'm here to be real, right? And that's why us three, and in terms of the Vipers as a whole, that's why it's so genuine and real, and that's why people come to us, right? The only messages I get aren't, oh man, I love your lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's never that. Yeah. It's always, I love that you are like me. I love that you're humble. I love that you're a genuine person. That's always the messages. Yeah. It's never like, oh man, you got a Lamborghini. I wish I can have that. Or, oh man, you have a Rolex. I wish I could have that. Never that. It's always, hey man, I appreciate that, you know, you've worked hard and you're genuine and that you're like me. right? And that's what's so important. That's why we started the Vipers in the first place.
That's why the meetups go like to a different level. Because
Yeah.
I remember like even when we did the first meetup, I think before I'd really knew any of those guys, the first thing I did was invite them all into my living room to have like a 30, 40 man party, you know, with the ladies there
the
as
World
well.
Cup, you remember?
It was
Some of the
cool
Vipers,
fun.
the Euros.
Euros. Sorry.
Isn't the football fan.
You can tell.
That's fine.
You can
That's
tell.
fine. That's fine.
You can tell.
Yeah, I'll let you off. I'll let you off.
World Cup.
And yeah, we had all the guys in there, and a lot of the guys, you know, we had a drink, and the truth's really coming out, and they really, sort of, you know, they sort of resonate with you really closely, and it's like,
And they're with us to this day.
yeah,
That's
they're with us
important.
to this day. Like they were the same sort of guys that was, you know, out of like the whole Viper community that flew to Dubai. The majority of those were
Yeah.
Yeah.
the guys that were a year previous in my living room.
Exactly.
Yeah? And it was like,
Exactly.
this is weird. Like, I was expecting it to be like us and you. Yeah, but it's never us and you. And that was why we did the cars and stuff, because it's not like this is about elevating our lifestyle and selling a lifestyle that we live. It's about, okay, can we do something where we all enjoy the life together?
Exactly.
You know
That's
what I
what we were saying about everyone coming together.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we've done that on purpose, right?
Yeah.
We've done that on purpose because we've seen that in terms of like the marketeers and the lifestyle gurus, in sense of like, we are here and you're here, right? And it might be in terms of success, or like, you know, what you can show on Insta, that might be the truth. But in terms of reality and human beings, no one is like this.
Yeah.
No one is like
a lot of the guys, most people only show you what they want you to see.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whether that be like some profits or some sort of material item or whatever it is, they're only going to show you what they want you to see, and that is the be all and end all.
Exactly. And you know, that's what sets us apart. Like, it's not even sets us apart. It's like, one thing I've noticed, like, I've been training 6 years now, yeah? I think the longest out of all three of us, right? When I started, there was only the marketeers.
Yeah.
Right?
Same for pretty much the same.
Pretty
thing.
same. Yeah.
That
You've
was
been
like
in long
4.5
as well.
years.
Yeah. Only the marketeers. Only, I would say, not since us,
Yeah.
in the sense that only we did it.
Yeah.
But it was very hard.
No prop
Fine.
firms.
Yeah, no prop firms. And it was very hard to find a genuine community. We were lucky. Like, I found RIT.
Yeah.
Once we recommended to you,
Yeah.
we found RIT. Like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, because RIT does it in such a genuine way,
It's so low key that you can't find it.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I
Like, that's what I mean. Like, because it was such a low key way and the genuine way and a real way, it was like you wouldn't be able to search and find him.
And not
Yeah.
only that, when you find, this is what will lead me on to the next whole social media thing, is like, it's pretty much like us. There'll be so many people, you look on your impressions, right? And so many people, like so many profile visits. Why aren't I getting the followers?
Yeah.
Because people click on, oh, he's only got 3K. He's
Yeah.
only got 4K.
Yeah. Not
I'm
showing a lifestyle.
I'm going
Yeah.
to follow
Not
the
showing
guy
the
that's got
profits.
20K.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow the guy that's got 50K.
Yeah.
You know? And so
Like, tell me one
you
thing.
don't pay the relevant attention, but more often than not, they're the real guys.
Oh, 100%. But how often have you had the messages of buying followers?
No, I can go on there now. I'm getting like probably 5-6 messages a week.
Yeah.
With they even fake the verification now.
Yeah.
So like you get a fake verified profile.
They've been doing that a long time.
Yeah.
It's just got cheaper.
Yeah. So let me help you. You know, get this audience. Let me help you do this, do that. But obviously, we've been around this industry to know. Just sort of, you know, stay away from that, because
It's not even that. It's not even like being around the industry. It's like, it's because of our mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it's just being genuine. Like, I would rather struggle and grind and go through hardship to get to 10K followers, for
What
example.
did we talk about? We upload like a 100K page or 200K page.
Oh,
We
100%.
Every day. We've got Josh every week. We're filming. We're getting reels.
Big shout out to Josh.
Yeah, big shout out to Josh. Does a great job.
I'll say
That's
one
the
thing though
media
about
guy,
Josh.
if you
One
don't know.
second. One thing I'll say about Josh. When we started, me and you, we in that week when we did the branding and everything.
Riz
And
didn't
we met
know
Josh.
Riz
I didn't know Josh.
I knew Josh from some previous experience.
Yeah.
Just seeing him about town.
And we got in a car park.
My car.
Yeah. In your car, yeah. In a car park. And Josh is like, and you could just tell the tone was
The
like,
energy was off.
fuck these FX guys. These
Yeah.
are just some marketers, some
Yeah.
fucking fake
There's
motherfuckers.
this whole stigma about this Forex.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's where it,
But I understand.
Yeah,
That's the funny
100%.
thing. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
I understand because we've been through it. We've seen it. And at that
The
point,
victims to it.
exactly, yeah.
That's why you get into it.
Exactly. And at that point, it was very, very valid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But big props to Josh. Very quickly, he saw that we were different, you know?
Oh, 100%,
And it's very thanks to Josh that we have the level of content. Like you said, on the level of big influencers, you know, actual verified or 200K, 500K, whatever, we have that level of content.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's our reels, whether it's even our course videos,
A
whether
grade.
it's everything.
A-grade quality.
A star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The equipment that he uses, the professionalism, the time he takes.
Yeah.
Very good. He's even brought along some of his very good friends as well. Shout out Dan. Shout out
Dan,
Isaac. Shout out Blonde Josh.
Blonde Josh. That's
Yeah.
no, that's thing. Yeah,
Yeah, his older brother.
Blonde Josh. It looks like Tommy from Power. That's what I say.
He's got all the
Was
highlights.
that JT?
But they
JT, that's the one, yeah, yeah.
JT,
But they do a
yes.
good job. These guys do.
The Blood Brothers.
That's right.
Yes.
Blood Brother Media. They've got some, some great sort of YouTube stuff going on. Some big channels at
Big
the moment.
things, man. Big things. Like we're small fish in comparison, but
That's fine.
they're
but
very
they
humble
see the
to let us
vision,
go.
and they see the vision.
That's it, yeah.
Josh sticks with us. Sometimes, we have to put him under a lot of pressure because we're trying to. roll
sometimes
out
I feel
that
like
much content.
we berate Josh a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel bad at times, but it's like we have a vision. And we want things done, and he always does them. That's the funny thing. It's just like because Josh is doing such high level shit, and he
The
knows
expectation.
but that he knows what he's doing. And it's not that we forget that. It's just like because we're just two guys, and we're just like
We're learning.
We're learning 100%, but like we're there just like with our own timeline. But he has this bigger sort of timeline that he works with. But yet to this day, there's not been once where it's like failed to meet expectation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even with this video here, what we're doing right now, it will not fail
Yeah.
the expectation. And I already know that, and that's the peace of mind, you know, and that's why I'm very happy with what we've done in terms of, the right team, like Krishna being here,
Yeah.
Dan's over there, you're here, Dan's over there. Josh over there. But that's the thing, like Josh has brought in people
Oh yeah,
who
with the
meet
same.
that vision, like Dan. And
The first time really we met him was in Dubai. So
Yeah.
that was like.
yeah, we didn't meet him
Josh
before that.
knows
We never
the
met him
thing.
before that. Yeah, we never had
He knows
any
that
interaction
he's
with
gonna
him.
be
Yeah.
along with the vibes, the energy, the good thing we're trying to make happen. That I'm sure that we've made happen. That's
Yeah.
why we've had some. In our first year, we're pretty much just rounded off the first year, but we've had friends that we'll probably have for a lifetime now. Where it's much more than trading. It's much more
yeah.
than.
It's the vibes,
Forex.
yeah.
It's much more than crypto. It's much more than anything else. It's just the community, the friendship, the turning up every day, knowing that, so even some of the guys in the community, they're great friends.
Yeah.
Look at people like, shout out like Amraj and Dharmesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, boom. They're just like tied at the hip.
Amraj, Dharmesh, Jamie, Yusuf,
Yeah.
Louis.
These guys,
name them off.
they're just, you can't ever.
Just brothers, man. Like
And
they're
you
just,
can't ever think like it's gonna be like that ahead of time. And
Yeah.
when those relationships grow, it gives you a next level of fulfillment.
That's what we were just talking about though. Like new members coming in. Like we don't know who's
Who
going to
is?
be that next person who's
don't.
like family. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we invite them to our family. Like Marco as an example.
Yeah.
I went to Canada and Marco invited me around for dinner at his house.
Yeah.
So I spoke to his mum. I spoke to his dad. I
Yeah.
spoke to his siblings. You know what I mean? Like I know where he lives and we broke bread together
Yeah.
and you built that connection. Like me and his mum follow each other on Insta. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
comment on each other's posts. And
Yeah.
that stuff there's no value in terms of money.
No.
Yeah.
And like,
But
as soon as that sort of connection happens, money is not an object.
Oh,
You
no.
know what I mean? Like you don't think about, hey man, you only paid for this or you were just a member for. We don't think that. As soon as there's a connection like that, money's no object. You know what I mean? It's like with Krishna. Like, let's take Krishna as an example, and I'll bring you in here. It's like, what would your viewpoint be in terms of, at one point you were on the outside. You weren't a mentor. You knew you were kind of like gonna get that
pipeline.
role.
Yeah.
But you were a Viper. You came in and you'd had that experience previously. But like, what was your viewpoint seeing what we did, and then obviously now being part of that? Like, what was that like?
I mean, for me, from the beginning, I always, again, because I knew I'm sort of going to grow into that role, I always wanted to already tried to embody that role. So when it does get to that point, it's not something new.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm trying to say? So I always try to embody that from the very beginning. So for me, seeing it grow, and you know, the day I remember July the 4th when we had that first meetup in Nottingham, and I
Independence Day.
when I officially joined the team. When I first officially joined the team, to me, purely because of the way I tried to carry myself previously, it wasn't really anything new. It wasn't really anything different. But with that being said, the growth is still insane, because I remember before Discord we had the Telegram, and like I remember we celebrated. When we say celebrated, I sent a couple messages in the group chat about like having 50 Vipers, and then we had 100, then we had 150, and now it's like plus 200 if I'm not wrong, right?
100%.
It's ridiculous. And going back to what you guys were saying earlier in terms of social media, it's all organic growth, which is the most important thing. So for me, you know, the role that I was in and the role that I'm in now, I've always been very proud. You know, I've always been very proud that I'm actually a part of a community and a group that are real, are organic. And, you know, going back to what we were saying about the stigma, you know, the same thing that you guys experienced with Josh, I experience every single day with everyone at uni.
I can imagine, yeah.
There's people bro, like I'm in a club, like I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to say, like, do my thing and have a good time. And there's people talk to me about Forex, and I'm just like, at the back of my mind, I'm like, not the time and place, is it? But at the same time, the thing that always is sort of creeping up behind all of the initial questions that they have is, you know, is it just like IML, for example? Is it just like a mock? Is it just a, you know, is it fake?
Yeah.
And, you know, regardless of whether, you know, I get to voice to them that we are real, which I always do. But regardless of that, I always have a lot of contentment and satisfaction, and I'm just glad that I am part of something that is real.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
There's a pressure that comes with this, and that's why I think that in terms of like confronting fears, right? Confronting fears in this industry is way harder than in any other industry. Yeah. Any sort of investment, any sort of financial, I don't want to call it advice, but education or pointers comes with additional stress. Because we know that most people aren't making money from financial markets. They're not making any sort of money from any sort of actual physical withdrawal. They're making it from sign-ups. They're making it from... Now, don't get me wrong. We obviously make money from sign-ups because we've got a business. But what we've tried to do, especially pivoting now to the sub-model, is like, okay, you can become a member on like the advanced and it'd be like 50 quid. If you don't enjoy that, that's fine. You can cancel anytime. There's no reason for us to tie you in because we're doing what we're doing anyway. With the 100 quid, same thing. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world if you lost £100 if it wasn't for you. Where other people in the past, they're charging 5k, 15k maybe for a one-to-one.
It's ridiculous.
You don't get the chance to say whether you've paid the money, you've handed over. You don't get the, you know what, I've lost 50 quid. You know what, I've lost 100 quid. And that's where I feel now we've really excelled.
Yeah, well, it's like that dual accountability. You know, so like
for us to provide.
Yeah, so it's double. So like when we originally started out, we did charge 3.5k, 3.5k, when we include the VAT. Thank you, the UK system. Thank you. But like we did charge 3.5k for 12 months, mentorship, webinars, everything. So like it was, and one-to-ones, of course, but like it was worth it, of course, right? But our mindset behind that was because we understood that, okay, if we charge a large amount, people are going to be accountable, they're going to be driven, they're going to want to turn up because they paid a lot. However, what we found was that it wasn't the case.
Not at all.
Right? No, like
there was
a
so
small
many
number,
people.
Right?
There was so many people that paid the fee.
That was a large number.
A large number of people paid the fee, but a large number of people never showed up after week 2. There was people missing one-to-ones. There was people not active in the group chat, not looking at the case studies.
Just disappeared after like a month, 2 months.
Just because they're coming into it with I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to make money.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're only just starting at that
the
point.
secret sauce.
You are
You know what I mean? The
that's
secret
the
holy
golden
grail.
key. The golden
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's why we made transitions. We made certain transitions throughout our journey. So we started with that. We recognized that some people couldn't afford, and you know, some people went ghost. So okay, we made a platform. We had a platform video, so a video course, and then we charged different amounts, right, for what, you know, different access. Again, with that same thing, right? It wasn't you know, people would just buy it and then they would never use it at all. You know, whether it's the PDF course we had or the video course, they just wouldn't use it. They would just pay the money and that's it. So then we really sat down and thought, like, what is going to make this difference? Because at the end of the day, the whole reason we started was because of the student, right? Making a difference, making that change. So we sat down, like, subscription. This is the one where really, and cancel anytime.
You can dip your toe.
Yeah.
You can dip your toe. You can see if it is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more importantly, accountability.
That's right. And it's like, me and you know, after all the conversations we've had, is like the people that want to be here, in terms of from like a financial aspect, they're going to be here for the next 12 months. They're going to be here for the next 2 years, 3 years. Yeah. The people that really want to do it.
Yeah.
Then we get the people that join, they go, this is absolute mess to me. And they cancel on the same day. Yeah. And that filters out the people that really want to be there, and the people that they're not really hungry for it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, we get people who join and probably trying to do like a golden key. So, I'm a join, there's a golden key there. They join and then they realize there's not like a golden key because that doesn't exist. Josh just dropped something in the background. Hopefully there's no broken laptops or bottles.
Fine. My Mac smashed to bits.
Yeah, smashed to bits. Yeah, we're going to claim. Josh is just doing all sorts right now.
Josh is having a nightmare. He's actually swinging from the ceiling. There's lights going everywhere.
Yeah, he's on the roof right now doing an exorcism. I couldn't even say the word there. But in terms of the sign-ups, like, it's the same thing. Like, you see people who join and maybe are trying to take the content, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, there's benefits and positives. There's positive and negative, to everything. So, like, the positive is that cancel anytime. Okay? So if you join and you're not motivated to watch the content, you're busy, you cancel anytime. But the negative is obviously that, you know, people will join and just steal the content and then leave. Cool. That's going to happen. Like, me and Cal, at the very beginning, we knew.
You know that.
It's
You
what
can't
you
do
expect
anything
yourself
about
to.
it. You can try and do, we spoke about
put all these
tracking
parameters in place.
IP addresses and all the, but the be all and end all, it's like,
It's gonna
if
happen.
you've got a car parked on your drive that a thief really wants to get,
They're
whether
gonna do
you
it, yeah.
put a steering lock on it, whether you put a bollard up at the end of your drive, if they want it, they're coming with the steel saw, they're cutting everything off and they're taking it.
Yeah.
I'd say one other positive though of having this model that we have now is going back to what we spoke about earlier in terms of building those relationships and having those long-term members that turn into family at the end of the day. It in a way facilitates that journey, facilitates that relationship, and makes it quicker almost. Yeah, makes it clearer as well. Whereas we'd have maybe, you know, X amount of people joining, paying a fat fee for 12 months, and then we'd only know how many of those are going to, you know, go up to that next level in terms of our relationship with them at the end of 12 months.
Most of them, you never get to make that.
Exactly.
Because they show up so briefly.
Exactly.
That you don't get the opportunity to dive into them as an individual.
So it's like when we do meetups, right? So I understand any international, but we have majority of our audience in the UK, of course, because we're from the UK. So like when we have a meetup in Nottingham or London or wherever it is, it's normally those two locations. You know, the truth is, like, people can turn up, but the truth is people aren't motivated enough to turn up. So, you know, what are we supposed to do? Because those connections get built really when we're in person, and we have been guilty. And this is something I was going to touch on. Like, you know, Cal mentioned about, you know, this being a business, you know, sign up fees and stuff. Me and Cal have been very guilty of, we're losing money. We've lost money for many months because of the fact that we've spent so much on meetups, you know, to make it the best. Like, Dubai cost us 30K, right? Getting everyone flown out, getting people's hotels, our hotels, the conference, the cars, everything, right? We've lost money tenfold over what we bring in.
Yeah.
Because we want that connection. We want to provide for people, right? And because our focus is on crypto or trading.
Long term.
right?
It's just a long-term
and long
vision.
term.
Yeah.
Right? We're probably bad businessmen in that sense. Like
Very bad. I've spoken literally.
like
Carl tells me all the time, but I'm like,
I
listen.
told him. I remember, right? This
Yeah.
is funny because, Riz's wife, I can remember her in the background telling him off because he went silent because I said to him, this year, okay, we are not spending so much money on meals, paying for 20, 30-man meals, drinks, this, that, and the other, making sure we have to make sure everybody enjoys the experience. Yeah. And we have to put things on in a way that we have to still get the fulfillment. But
Well, the funny thing is, we don't have to.
We don't have to.
You don't have to, but
we don't have
that's
to.
what you
But
represent.
for us to get the fulfillment that is required from doing it, because if you're not fulfilled by it, there's no longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember you just going silent on the phone, like I'm just getting told off for being like, we've got to spend this, and his wife going in the background. Right, he's right, Riz. He's right. We've got to tone it all back. Because we're just running at a net negative because we do so well as a platform, and then we just blow it all out the water because we just like, okay, what we're gonna do, and then it goes from we're gonna get a conference to we'll take everyone for a meal, then we take everyone paintballing, then every time we take everyone go-karting, then it goes to it's just a snowball effect, like. Yeah. And that's because we're like, we need to make sure everybody's there. So if we pay for them to be there, they're all going to be there because we want to meet everyone. We want to get to know everyone. When truthfully, if we just went back to the sort of drawing board in a way that was like, right, we're going to have a meetup, we're going to have a conference. The people that really want to be there, regardless of the cost, they're going to be there. Yeah. Like we see with Dubai. And that was a real eye-opener because we still had like 25, 30 of our members.
That was our biggest event.
And they all flew out there because they really wanted to be there. It's a big commitment, but they really wanted to be there. And there was one or two more that should have been there, but because of like personal reasons or family reasons, they couldn't have been, last hurdle sort of thing, broke down.
Yeah.
But if you're really invested in what you're doing, not necessarily for financial gain, but as a whole, you will do everything in your power to be there. Yeah.
No, 100% that. And I agree. Like, I learned from Dubai a lot, like, in terms of it was an eye-opener in terms of, like, we don't need to do as much, right? And I always felt like, and I've done this throughout, not even just the Vipers, but like, with friendship groups, I've always just, like, if we went for a meal, if we went to shisha, if we went to cinema, anywhere, even if we went to the shop, I'll just pay for it. Because I don't like to... in terms of mindset, like I do half. Yeah, I don't like to do that. Yeah. Like I remember we tried it once. Yeah. In Dubai, like everyone pay you for your meal, and
carnage.
It's just carnage. Yeah, it's carnage, and then someone might not pay, and you're like, who did that?
That happened.
Exactly, it happened, right? And it's like we're not bothered. Like this is why I remember I said to you afterwards, like this is why I pay for it. So I was like, this is why I pay for it because I'm not bothered. Like for me, it's like, look, we're feeding people, so there's reward there. There's good intention there. But then also it's like, we're not bothered. Like we're making money from trading. We're making money from crypto. And even if we're losing money on the subscription and stuff, because we're paying so much for the meetup.
You're gaining in fulfillment.
Yeah, exactly. Like the intention is there, and like, we'll lose a few thousand in terms of like running the VIPER group because of obviously the level of the meetups and everything. But that's fine. Like that's not why we started the VIPER group, to make money. We started the VIPER group, as I said, for the focus of the student.
Being different.
The
and
value.
Nobody's going to allocate that amount of personal capital to everyone else enjoying their life. Yeah. We could quite have easily just ran off into the sunset.
Well, we could have just done just a conference.
Yeah, that's it, right?
We could have just done a conference and that's it. Nothing else. Like just do a conference. That would cost probably maximum £800, £700, and that's it.
That's it.
Right? And then just banked everything else. But why do that? Right? Like, let's go over to Krishna now. You were there in Dubai. We brought you out, and because you're part of the team.
Of course.
Right? Simple as that. Like, we see you as the same as me and Cal here, right? And, but more importantly, as we mentioned on our podcast, was the RTD, right? The vision. But what was it like actually then coming out and doing everything that we had planned and all of those activities, and and you then had to, witness and experience all the different meals and everything.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So
Was all of our expenditure worth it? That's
of course. I mean, of course. Yeah, there's no doubt. Of course, it was. For me personally, from where I'm sat, it's actually weird. Like, people probably won't expect this, but from the beginning, from when I got told that, I remember you called me and you're like, for your hard work. You called me and you were like, for your hard work, for this, for that, for the other, we're gonna fly you out. Yeah, I was just in shock for a second. I went to my boys' room and I was like, yo, bro, like, Riz just called me and like, this is gonna happen. I was honestly, I was in shock. I was like, what I'm trying to say, like, how have I got to this point where from going from zero and all of a sudden I'm being flown out to Dubai? Like, it's crazy. And especially I think because of my age and everyone around me is more interested in, just a completely different life. It could be.
But that's
the
the
thing
reason. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Because me at 20, even me at 20 especially. Yeah.
Me and 20, same thing.
Him at 20, we're looking at you and saying, at 20 years old, you got these aspirations. I don't have these aspirations. Yeah. Regardless of, I don't think I would have ever said the word Dubai at 20 years old. I know it's come up a lot in the last 15 years, but I wouldn't have said the word Dubai. So
100%.
Yeah, because at 20, that's when I got distracted. 2021.
That's right, yeah.
That's when I got distracted. Like, I was on the vision, but
it's a
for about
fallacy
2-3 years, I was just
what's
like,
real and what's not is very different.
And a lot of people, it's not even that. It's like a lot of people are also interested in like the rat race. They're very invested in just getting like a grad job out of firm or like, even if they don't want to.
Buying
But
the
anyway,
house, the mortgage.
all of that sort of stuff. And with that being said, it was very surreal. And on top of that, to add to that, I always thought, and again, this is where my self-awareness allowed me to understand that I was actually one of those people that thought that I'll go from 0 to 100 in one step. I thought I'm going to be one of those people that the first time I go to Dubai is when I'm house hunting in Dubai, or when I'm looking to settle into Dubai. I never thought the first time I go to Dubai will be on like something like this.
They were work trip.
A work, exactly. And before that, I always, and again, this again might be one of my flaws. I always, turned away from little things like even test driving a car or going on holiday. I turned away from it all because I felt like, and
the first time you want to do it, you want to be yours.
I want to own it. I don't want to do it if it's not mine. I couldn't fully enjoy it if it's not.
Remember what I
mine.
said to you there?
Exactly. And then, right, so I shared this with you, of course. And, you opened my eyes in a way where you were like, doing this isn't, it's not a holiday. It's not you experiencing like just a flash and then going back to like a shitty life. It's you experiencing your dream. So you get closer to it and, it's just better in terms of your vision, in terms of your...
for your main course.
Right, perfectly
That's
put.
He taught me the same thing.
Yes.
Because I like in my younger years, I did a lot of traveling in terms of like, I was going on holidays to like party destinations, even went to like Miami and things like that. Then I didn't go away for 5 years. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, how can you experience the things that, because
You remember your apartment when we started the Vipers?
Yeah, like I moved to an apartment that was like, basically the week we started up the Vipers was like, okay, you don't have any drawbacks to live in somewhere where you want, in terms of rented accommodation, where would you want to live in Nottingham right now? Yeah, you can't necessarily move to Dubai, to wherever you want to move to, but where do you want to live in Nottingham right now? Where is the most desirable place? And I was like, well, they've just built these new apartments called the Waterside. And it was like a few Forest players living there, there's a few property influencers that actually live there as well, big YouTubers and stuff. And I remember just going in the toilet and I came back and Riz was like, right, Thursday, 2:00, we got a viewing. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what's the problem? Like, you've got the money, so what is you're the problem. So he's like, we're going, right? So I'm like, okay, we go. So I go, and straight away I'm like, this is an experience that I am so fond of that I have to try this. And he's like, where's the paperwork? And I'm like at this point, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm totally out of control. Where's the paperwork? I'll sign it. Boom. I'm there. I'm signed up. And that was an experience like where I'm like, oh my God, like that is giving me a taster of how I want to live. Yeah. And then going on to like Dubai. Again, I'm going away next week. You're going away next week. Haven't been away for 5 years. All of a sudden I'm away twice in 6 weeks. Yeah. Then I'm going away later on in the year twice more. Yeah. Because after that one trip, I felt inspired on a new level. Not because I want to travel all the time, but because of the growth, because of the other people, the happiness that you see in people, the more vibrance that you have
it's
about
that taste of success, and it goes back to what I was speaking about with my podcast with you. Is that fear of success? It's like, even for me, you know what you said about you haven't been out for 5 years, now you're going out all of, you know, it's the same thing for me. Like previously, I was only going out literally to meet my family in India once a year, and all of a sudden this year, just like that, I've gone to Dubai. I'm going to Croatia with my boys. I will be going to India. You know, we've got things planned for the summer as well, and all of a sudden. Going from one time,
inspiration on
it's
a new
crazy,
level.
and it's because going back to what I mentioned earlier is that accepting that, you know, now that you are getting close to what you previously saw as success, just because it might be becoming normal now, you have to still see yourself as worthy of experiencing that. And for me, that's the thing. Like, you know, even before, I remember I was speaking to one of my closest friends before, like I think it was the day before flying out, and they were like to me, "How do you feel?" And I was like, I actually don't know how I feel, because this is not how I imagined it to go. Yeah. But at the same time, as with everything else, you have to just take it in your stride and just go with it and enjoy as much as you can. And that's exactly what I did. And it was crazy. Like I wasn't feeling how I thought I would feel, in the sense that, you know what, I've done this off my own back, and all of a sudden, like, you know, I went from 0 to 100 in one step, because that's how I thought it was going to be. But I knew now that this is a step that I'm taking to get to that 100. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
One of the biggest lessons I have learned in this last year is to spend at least a 20% allocation of whatever you are earning on enjoying your life. 100%. And I've learned that from people which are way more successful than me. Yeah, you see these guys, they're living a life which is far superior to yours, right? But you have to, it's so important that when, you know, there's that little bit of a cliche, like, you got to love the process. Nobody loves losing every day in the early days of trading or the rest of it, right? But whatever you're earning, you have to spend 20% of that on enjoying your life. Whether it be a car, if you rather drive a car than a holiday, that's fine, yeah? But whether it be buying clothes instead, whatever it is, 20% of whatever is coming into your household has to be spent on enjoying your life, so that you can dip your toe and get a taste of 100%. The life you really want to live.
100%. And it's similar, like for me, like one thing that I've always, it's the same thing, you know, like spending on actually enjoying, because again, going back to what I've mentioned previously about that limitless mindset, the one drawback of that is not being satisfied when you actually get to what once was your end goal, you know. And in order to combat that, you have to enjoy the process. And in order to do that,
you have
to
actually
actually
enjoy it.
Exactly. Because we know enough people that, you know, are making the money, for example. This is why money is not the answer. It's the time, and it's what you spend your money on, for example. That's the answer. And
you know why money's not the answer is because it's infinite. Right? So because it's infinite, if you chase money, you're never going to be satisfied. And something I had to learn, so you know that already, like limitless. So if you get to one aspect, you know there's another level. Well, for me, it was like, if I get here, I'm going to be happy. I got there, I wasn't happy, right? So it's like learning and understanding that that's not the case. That's not how things work, right? You get to a certain goal and suddenly you're going to be content. But it's very, very valid. I think we're going to wrap up now because we're getting to about time. But yeah, one thing I was going to finish on, you touched on it. July, this is probably going to come out probably mid-July, end July. Maybe, not mid-July, June, sorry. Maybe beginning of July. But I think we can mention it. We're going to be doing one day in London, one day in Notts, and a road trip driving-wise over to Amsterdam. So a massive meetup. I think first of its kind. And it's a pleasure. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Cal.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You know, we're going to do this again. I think it was the best thing we've done so far. And I think
very enjoyable.
a very, very genuine conversation. I think a lot came out of it, all various different topics.
Actually, not much trading, just realness.
That might be bad. It might be good. I don't care.
Episode 2, we can jump on.
Well, we'll go back to trading on the next one. But let us know in the comments, you know, your thoughts and any topics you want us to cover for the next episode, because I'll make sure the next episode is us three once again. And yeah, please subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you both.
Cheers,
Let's go
Chris.
enjoy the day.
Thank you, sir.
Of course.